Barbecue is an art and every artist has their secret weapon. But today we're gonna be looking at one key ingredient of the barbecue, the binder. And the binder is the ingredient that holds our spices onto our meat. But is there a secret? Because not everyone agrees what the correct binder is. So today into tomorrow, our goal is to find what is the best binder. From the most common to some weird ones, the wackiest. We're gonna find out what's best. We're gonna taste test them and see and let you know. Let's get weird. Now, every good barbecue begins with a good brisket. This one's got a nice fat cap, good marbling, and since it's choice grade, this is gonna make a great baseline for the test. And this is a packer brisket because we got the point and the flat both attached. Either cut the plastic off or you can zap it like I did. So a quick little anatomy lesson about your brisket. The flat side, this is the lean section. When you go to a restaurant and ask for a lean brisket, you get the flat. On the left side, this is the pointy section. This is where you're gonna get a little bit more flavor, a little bit more fat, but let's dive more into that after we trim this up. Trimming a brisket is critical in the process, and to make it simple, we want to get rid of any fat that feels hard because that won't render into juice, but more on that later. I also like to get rid of this tough meat section. It can get exposed to air, which makes it tough. If you don't have a sharp knife, you will wish you had one. I like to keep it simple, but if you can, trim the back down to about 1/4 inch around the whole thing. Okay, there we go, trimmed brisket. Now it's time to get crazy. To begin, we're using Casey Masterpiece Original. Now the only reason we're using this one is because it was in abundance in the fridge. Now next up is going to be mustard. I think this one's gonna be the best. It's typically what a lot of people use. Here's my methodology on how I'm doing this. I don't want to waste good sections of the brisket on a weird substance. So we're gonna do the mustard and what I think is gonna be the best tasting section right here in the middle. Next up is honey. I think this one could also do really well. I am more of a savory guy. So I'm thinking I'm going to like the mustard better, but the honey could be really good too. It's gonna be sticky enough to hold those spices. It's gonna have good adhesion. Maybe it'll work its way in a little bit. Who freaking knows? Next up is gonna be mayo. I think this one could be an underdog. It sounds weird. Probably is gonna be weird. I think if it has a chance, it's because it pretty much cooks off and doesn't have much flavor. I feel like I'm ruining a good brisket. Next up is peanut butter. I don't really think this one sounds good. Feels so wrong. Next up, we got Tabasco and grape jelly. I don't even know why I'm doing this. And just like that, we are working with a barbecue mustard, honey, mayo, peanut butter, weird jelly mixture binder. We should be able to figure out what the best binder is now. And I left the end with no binder, that way we can tell. So let's put salt, pepper, and to the grill. Now I'm not gonna go as crazy on the salt and pepper as I normally would. I really wanna see what the flavors of these binders are. So we're gonna kinda keep it light and I'm not even gonna do the other side. Okay, we just took this off the grill. We hit our internal temperature of 165 to 170. It is looking perfect so far. A little crazy on the binders. Oh my gosh, it's almost falling apart while I'm doing this. That was really hot. Wow. Hey, now we're gonna wrap this up into our little baby present. You have two options when you're wrapping brisket. You can either, oh yes, get it nice and tight. You can either wrap it in butcher paper or you can wrap it in tin foil. Now, butcher paper allows the bark to breathe, allows it to harden. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but this bark is looking so good. But if you wrap it in tin foil, it's gonna soften up the bark a little bit. Typically people like to wrap it in butcher paper because you preserve that bark, you preserve that flavor, but some people like a really soft bark. It's kind of up to you. Now that's all wrapped up, we're gonna go back on the grill. We're gonna turn it up a little bit. I'm gonna go to 240 degrees and we're gonna look for internal temperatures of 205. Remember, we cook to temperature, not to time. This brisket has been cooking for like 18 hours. We let it rest for like 2 to 3 hours. Now it's time to unwrap it. But the longer you let these briskets rest, the better they can taste. The more moisture it can retain and the more flavor it's gonna have. So if you can let it rest for 6 to 8 hours, that would be awesome. Sometimes you just don't got the time. Here comes the moment of truth. Oh my gosh, it has a great bark on it. Pretty firm bark. It's almost hard to tell the sections. So I think this is barbecue, mustard, honey, mayo. It all kind of congregates together. I believe this is the jelly, and the jelly looks like it got all shriveled up and hard. Oh no, one of these made a mess. Oh no. Oh, we're quickly finding out why you don't use one of them. Oh, it looks so tender, but oh no, oh no, oh no. Well, folks, this is not what I expected to happen. I have never had the whole back fat just peel off like this. Unfortunately, one of the ingredients clearly pulled off the back. It's just falling apart exactly like it's supposed to. Typically, when you cut brisket, you don't want to cut the whole thing up. It'll dry out a lot faster. So for this purpose, we're gonna cut the whole thing up because, well, we wanna taste every section of it. I'm not gonna lie, this is not my best brisket. Technically, I'm not making excuses. There was a storm coming and it developed the bark for an extra hour. Time to taste test. I am not sure if I'm gonna like any of these. It's literally falling apart. Barbecue is good. You get a little bit of sweetness. You get a little bit of smokiness. It's overall a solid option. Time for mustard. Mustard's really good. There's probably a reason we all use it because honestly, I could eat the mustard all day. Works with the pepper nicely. So this is honey. So the honey, I get a tiny bit of sweetness. I'm gonna guess the honey was the biggest mistake. What I think happened is the honey dripped its way off once it got to those higher temperatures, became liquid, and then went to the bottom of the pork, probably turned into like a candy, and peeled off all my fat. So honey's a thumbs down. It might not taste bad, but it might ruin everything. Okay, this is the mayo. The mayo's weird. The mayo has like this, it's kind of sour. Not very good. Not the worst thing ever, but I wouldn't use it. And here goes peanut butter. I am not looking forward to this one. Peanut butter is like a, oh, it turns into like a chalky substance. Oh. Peanut butter is not very good. Don't go with peanut butter. And last but not least, Tabasco with jelly. Who in their sick mind would do this? Oh. Oh my gosh, that's so bad. Let's wrap this one up. Overall, the binders don't change that much flavor. If you go with the really gnarly, really disgusting one like jelly and Tabasco sauce, that's no good. That'll ruin it for sure. The other one's nothing crazy. You can't go wrong with mustard or barbecue. Barbecue if you're boring, mustard if you actually want some more flavor in it, and stay away from honey, it'll peel off the back. So overall, that was kind of weird. Doesn't matter as much as I thought it did, to be honest. I never claimed to be an expert. I'm just here to have fun. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope we put the myth to bed that the binder has some secret sauce in it, because it doesn't. It doesn't. Just go with mustard. See you in the next one. Ugh, that was so bad.